After Han Li secretly ascended, or rather sneaked his way up to the spirit realm, he discovered something astonishing. The almost wife whom he once stubbornly refused to acknowledge, back in the day had later become a supreme powerhouse, a figure whose words carried absolute authority throughout the mortal realm. Even the disciples and descendants Han Li left behind were carefully protected and taken care of by her. Fellow Taoists familiar with Old Devil, Han all know very well that his fate with women had never been ordinary. Whether it was Nangong Wan, with whom he dual cultivated at the blood-colored Forbidden Ground, Chen Qiaoqian, with whom he once had interactions at Huangfeng Valley, Ziling and Mei Ning, who accompanied him through life and death struggles, or later, Mu Peiling, who actively approached him, Han Li had never lacked women circling around him. To attract the promising stock known as Han Li, the twin saints, Twin Sheng of the Star Palace, even went so far as to let their own daughter offer herself to him, hoping to recruit Han Li as their son-in-law and bind him to the Star Palace. At that time, Han Li had just advanced to the late nascent soul stage and was roaming the chaotic Star Sea, hunting down old enemies to settle past debts. After a fierce bout of killing, he was preparing to set up a teleportation array to return to the southern heavenly region when he happened to encounter Ling Yuling on the road. The moment she saw him, she recognized his limitless potential and quietly reported his strength and movements to her parents, the twin saints, Twin Sheng of the Star Palace, hoping they would recruit Han Li under their banner. In the beginning, the twin saints didn't even take Han Li seriously. In their eyes, a cultivator who had just broken through to late nascent soul, even if fairly capable, could hardly stir up any real storms. They even considered that if they failed to rope him in, they would simply eliminate him outright, ensuring he would never grow strong enough to become an obstacle to Ling Yuling's future control over the chaotic Star Sea. However, after Wenqing the female saint personally made contact with Han Li, her attitude changed completely. She vaguely sensed that Han Li's true strength far exceeded their expectations. If they rashly attempted to kill him, there was absolutely no guarantee they could succeed. Helpless, the twin saints were forced to retreat a step, and instead played their trump card. They pushed Ling Yuling forward and proposed that Han Li and Ling Yuling become dual cultivation Dao partners, binding Han Li firmly to the boat of the Star Palace. Ling Yuling possessed breathtaking beauty and formidable cultivation. If it were anyone else, they likely would have agreed on the spot. Han Li too appreciated her talent and appearance, but his heart always remembered Nangong Wan back home. Having always been cautious and reserved, Old Devil Han would never dare flirt around outside, so he could only grit his teeth and tactfully decline the twin saints' proposal. Seeing that their attempt at a marital alliance had failed, the twin saints of the Star Palace came up with another plan. They took out a secret art capable of helping one break through to the deity transformation stage and proposed exchanging this technique for Han Li's promise to assist Ling Yuling 3 times in the future. Han Li had always been interested in rare secret arts, and the condition wasn't too harsh for him, so he agreed on the spot. What he didn't know was that the origin magnetic divine light contained within the technique was actually an enormous trap. To advance to deity transformation, one not only needed the 5 spiritual roots, but the origin magnetic divine mountain required for cultivating the technique could not be taken out of the Star Palace at all. Once Han Li began cultivating it, he would be bound to Heavenly Star City just like the twin saints, naturally becoming a powerful support for Ling Yuling. However, the twin saints still underestimated Han Li's true capabilities. With the help of the Tianlan sacred beast, Han Li unexpectedly discovered a method to extract and carry away the origin magnetic divine mountain. The entire scheme of the twin saints collapsed instantly. What made the situation even more tragic was that, by then, the twin saints' lifespans were already nearing their end. In order to clear all obstacles from Ling Yuling's path to power, they sought out the Star Palace's enemies, Wan Sangu and the Arch-Saint Six Paths, and ultimately chose to self-detonate together, intending to perish alongside them. In that great battle, Wan Sangu died on the spot, her soul scattering completely. But the Arch-Saint Six Paths managed to survive, and even seized the opportunity to possess the body of Wan Tianming. Afterward, he led the Star-Defying Alliance in a large-scale assault against the Star Palace. The Star-Defying Alliance advanced ferociously, and the Star Palace's forces were defeated again and again. In desperation, Ling Yuling was left with no choice but to send out a distress signal to Han Li. By that time, Han Li had long since relied on his own strength to become the strongest cultivator beneath the deity transformation stage. Upon receiving the message, he immediately rushed to the Star Palace to provide aid. Faced with the clown-like antics of the Arch-Saint Six Paths, Han Li didn't even need to exert himself. he simply released the 5-child heart-linking devil seed. The archsaint, having never witnessed such terrifying supernatural power, was utterly frightened. Before Han Li, he was like an infant who had yet to be weaned, unable to resist at all, about as easy to kill as an ant. With the archsaint's 6 paths dead, the star-defying alliance collapsed like a headless snake. Han Li struck down a few more of their nascent soul cultivators, allowing the Star Palace to counterattack. At last, they successfully encircled and destroyed the star-defying alliance. The chaotic war that had raged for several centuries across the chaotic Star Sea finally reached its end. The Star Palace once again reclaimed absolute control over both the inner and outer Star Seas. Later, after Han Li successfully refined the Crimson Soul banner, he returned to the chaotic Star Sea once more, this time right before Ling Yuling's eyes. He directly collected the Origin Magnetic Divine Mountain into the Crimson Soul banner. Watching the scene unfold, Ling Yuling could only force a bitter smile and shake her head. The intricate arrangement her parents had painstakingly constructed to keep Han Li bound to the Star Palace had now turned into nothing more than a futile dream. Whatever lingering hope she had of keeping Han Li by her side completely faded into smoke. However, Han Li did not treat Ling Yuling coldly. He voluntarily accepted the title of Guest Elder of the Star Palace. With such a mighty figure standing behind her, none of the major powers in the chaotic Star Sea dared covet the position of Star Palace Master anymore. Ling Yuling's authority thus became even more unshakable, but after that farewell, their next meeting would not come until 1,000 years later. Relying on the Origin Magnetic Divine Light, Han Li successfully broke through to the deity transformation stage. He later joined forces with the Ice Phoenix and secretly ascended to the Spirit Realm through a spatial node, opening a brand new legendary chapter in the Spirit Realm. It was not until more than a millennium later, when Han Li cast a spell to send one of his avatars down to collect the Northern Extreme Origin Crystal, that the two finally met again. Coincidentally, it was right at the time of Ling Yuling's 1,000-year grand birthday celebration. The entire chaotic Star Sea was engulfed in festive excitement. The leaders of all major factions came personally to offer their congratulations. After all, Ling Yuling was the only deity transformation cultivator in the chaotic Star Sea. To live so long and possess such unfathomable cultivation made it clear just how deep her foundation was. When she saw Han Li's avatar, her face was filled with disbelief, and even her voice trembled slightly. She clearly had not expected that she would ever see Han Li again. Han Li then asked Ling Yuling about the situation in the mortal realm over the years. Although she rarely left the chaotic Star Sea, she still had every major event across the mortal realm at her fingertips, having long become the true #1 spokesperson of the human world. What surprised Han Li even more was that the disciples he had left behind in the mortal realm, and even their descendants, had all received special care from Ling Yuling over the years. Their growth had been incredibly smooth, and several nascent soul cultivators had even emerged among them. Ling Yuling's quiet, unwavering support moved even the ever-aloof old devil Han. Han Li had always been a man who distinguished grudges and gratitude clearly. To repay Ling Yuling's kindness before departing, he gifted her a jade slip recording the method to ascend to the spirit realm. To Ling Yuling, this jade slip was undoubtedly a heaven-sent opportunity. It also gave the bond between the two, preserved over a millennium, a truly perfect ending.